Brothers and sisters, how lonely are the streets. As I walk along, rather than good morning, people jump off the pavement. In place of the warmth of a smile and a word of kindness, we have deafening silence with people hunched over their cell phones. Have a people ever been more isolated, distant, and estranged? Let's ask ourselves, which one of us has a close friend, a pal, a buddy, even one friend in which they can confide? Instead, we are dazed, distraught, and distracted. In this 244th year of these United States, we have become a nation of strangers. Then there is the hysteria. It has reached a fever pitch. A doctor writes that he is not scared of the virus. Rather, what I am scared about is the loss of reason and wave of fear that has induced the masses of society into a spellbinding spiral of panic. The social fabric is torn. There is a rise in deaths of despair from drugs and suicide. It is tragic that the rates of anxiety, depression, and suicide are at an all-time high. Suicides have spiked. Long before the present pandemic, there was the pandemic of cancer, the pandemic of cardiovascular, the pandemic of diabetes, and the pandemic of obesity. And underlying all of this is that the average lifespan in these United States has fallen for the last 3 years. But this should come as no surprise when one considers that an astonishing 60% of the food Americans eat is ultra-processed. These include pizza, burgers, and soda. They contain unnaturally high amounts of sugar, salt, processed oils, and unhealthy fats. May I suggest, brothers and sisters, that we begin the long journey back by reclaiming ourselves, by reclaiming our heritage in a 5-step program. First, a green drink once a day. This is one of the treasures bequeathed to us by the raw food movement. What one does in a blender, one puts parsley, lettuce, kale, Swiss chard, and celery. Press the button and you have a green drink. Finely divided greens in a green drink, which you have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, is so enormously healing. Give it a try. And when you do so, you'll be standing on the shoulders of giants, like Professor Arnold Ehret, who brought live food to California in the early 1920s. Like Dr. Kirschner, whose classic Nature's Healing Grasses is still available, a magnificent book that everyone should have. Like Victoria Botenko, who for a decade traveled around giving lecture after lecture, demo after demo on green drinks. The second step is to limit oneself to 2 meals a day, or even 1 meal a day. Or why not fast? Why not fast on water for 1 day a week? Fasting on water is the royal road to health. It is especially efficacious when dealing with things like the common cold. Then there is daily exercise. Why not start with stretches when you wake up? YouTube is replete with magnificent sequences that you can follow so easily. Plant a victory garden, as your grandparents did during the Second World War. If you live in an apartment, try sprouts in your kitchen and join a community garden. Right now you can plant a winter garden replete with lettuce, kale, and Swiss chard. Plant a tree this winter. Make it an historic apple tree, or make it a pear, plum, or peach tree. Imagine a community fruit garden. Imagine a public park filled with heirloom and historic fruit trees. Imagine digging up that lawn in the front and replacing it with an heirloom fruit tree orchard. Imagine a national holiday where every American plants a tree. So we have these 5 steps. A green drink with every meal. Intermittent fasting, vigorous exercise, victory gardens, and planting trees. And if you're concerned with climate change, nothing that you can do can stabilize the climate more than planting a tree. Nothing that you can do to bring fertility back to the soil is as efficacious as planting a tree. In place of isolation, loneliness, and fear, brothers and sisters, let's stand up and be counted for the rebirth of this people and the regeneration of this American earth. Thank you. My privilege to share a few concepts. Your suggestions and comments are so welcome.